Welcome to the Reconcile African Affairs Conference podcast. Ladies and gents, my name is Sean Mombo from Zimbabwe, a platform dedicated to navigating and reconciling the relationships among Africans across the globe. In each episode, we delve deep into the challenges and opportunities facing our continent, with a focus on eliminating detrimental factors such as inequality, discrimination, and corruption that hinder our progress. We aim to highlight the shared values that bind us, celebrate the diversity of African cultures, and promote unity across borders. By fostering open dialogue and exploring solutions, we strive to create a brighter, more inclusive future for Africa and its people. Stay tuned for engaging discussions that empower, inspire, and pave the way for positive change. As I believe we are all equal.
Welcome, my fellow African mates, brothers and sisters, family and friend listeners, to the Reconcile African Affairs Conference podcast. I'm Sophie from South Africa, your host for today, and I'm joined by our distinguished guests to dive into some crucial topics that are shaping the future of Africa. Today, we're tackling the deep meanings of identity, African values, and the aspirations that drive our continent forward.
That's right, Sophie. Hello ladies and gents, my name is Kwame. I'm from Tanzania, and our conversation will also touch on the importance of African unity, how inequality and discrimination are contributing to corruption, and how African projects and initiatives can lead us toward a better future. Let's explore how all of this ties into the broader context of African identity and diversity.
Hello everyone, my name is Ngozi Araim from Kenya. As an historian, from my perspective, African identity is complex and multifaceted. It's a blend of history, culture, and tradition that's unique to each nation yet connected to a shared experience. Our identity isn't confined to borders, but rather, it's a legacy of resilience, creativity, and a profound connection to the land. It's about understanding the past while navigating toward a brighter future.
That's beautifully put, Ngozi. Now, when we think of Africanship or Pan-Africanism, it's not just a political movement but a philosophical one. It's about recognizing the collective journey of African people, regardless of where we are geographically.
Exactly. It's the sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves, something that stretches across the globe. But Africanship is also about recognizing and embracing African diversity, right? The continent is home to more than 3,000 ethnic groups, and yet, there is still a common thread running through all of us. Ngozi, what does this diversity mean in terms of unity? African diversity is a testament to the richness of our cultures, languages, and traditions. But that diversity also calls for unity in understanding and respecting our differences while celebrating what we share as Africans. We have to move beyond the divisions created by colonial borders and see the strength that comes from our interconnectedness.
That's powerful. And this takes us into the African values, the values like respect, hospitality, communal living, and a deep sense of spirituality. These values have been passed down through generations, but how do they hold up in today's modern world, especially in light of the challenges we face?
My name is Nkachi from Nigeria. As objectively conversing, African values are timeless, but the modern world has put them to the test. In urbanization and globalization, we often see these values eroding, but they remain at the core of who we are. In fact, they could serve as the antidote to many of the challenges we face, like inequality, corruption, and individualism. We must reconnect with those values to solve our contemporary issues. That's a great point. And inequality, discrimination, and corruption are unfortunately part of the fabric of many African nations today. How do you think these issues are rooted in the failure to truly embrace African identity and values? It's all interconnected. When we lose sight of our African roots, our values of unity and respect for all people, we open the door for inequality and discrimination. Corruption thrives when leaders forget their responsibility to their people. True leadership should be rooted in the values of integrity, service, and the well-being of the community.
And this is where African projects and initiatives come in, right? We need to focus on sustainable growth that serves the people. Whether it's through education, technology, or economic empowerment, Africa has a vast array of resources and potential. We have the tools to change the narrative, but we need to stay true to the vision of African unity and solidarity. And this is where African projects and initiatives come in, right? we need to focus on sustainable growth that serves the people. Whether it's through education, technology, or economic empowerment, Africa has a vast array of resources and potential. We have the tools to change the narrative, but we need to stay true to the vision of African unity and solidarity.
Absolutely. And speaking of education, the future of Africa depends heavily on the quality of education we provide to the next generation. We have to empower them with the tools they need to tackle the continent's challenges and contribute to its growth. What role do you see education playing in shaping African aspirations? Education is the key to unlocking Africa's full potential. It shapes the minds of future leaders and entrepreneurs. When we prioritize education, we invest in the future of Africa. However, we must ensure that it's not just education in the traditional sense but also education that instills pride in African heritage, fosters critical thinking, and encourages innovation. Education is the key to unlocking Africa's full potential. It shapes the minds of future leaders and entrepreneurs. When we prioritize education, we invest in the future of Africa. However, we must ensure that it's not just education in the traditional sense but also education that instills pride in African heritage, fosters critical thinking, and encourages innovation.
I completely agree. Africa's youth are the continent's greatest resource, and with the right educational framework, they can lead us to a prosperous future. But education must also address the practical realities of today, providing skills that are needed in the workforce and nurturing a generation that is both culturally grounded and globally competitive.
Well said, Kwame. And to close out today's discussion, let's focus on African unity. What does true unity look like in the 21st century? According to Minkachi, as true unity comes when we recognize our shared destiny and work towards it together, despite our differences. It's about collaboration, not competition, among African nations, fostering an environment where the prosperity of one contributes to the prosperity of all. Unity means standing together in the face of global challenges, whether it's climate change, economic instability, or social injustice. And unity doesn't just mean governments working together. It's about the people too. When Africans on the ground collaborate, whether in business, community projects, or social movements, that's where real change happens. True unity is grassroots and Pan-African.
That's a beautiful thought to end on. Africa is a continent of immense potential, but to truly realize it, we must unite, uphold our values, and empower future generations through education and action. We have to embrace who we are, flaws and all, and work towards a common goal.
That's right, Kwame. And listeners, as we reflect on today's conversation, we hope you feel inspired to take part in Africa's journey toward unity, growth, and prosperity. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Reconcile African Affairs Conference podcast. We'll be back with more insightful discussions soon.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time, keep embracing your African identity, because the future of Africa is in our hands.